Hi guys, it's Leanne and I am here today to bring you my February TBR. February is the shortest month of the year, haha. But I must read every single one of these books. So I have in this TBR books Leanne has to read and books Leanne has been told to read. As one very smug alley cat once said, allow me to illuminate here. For a start, Leanne must read Luck in the Shadows with Lynn Fluelling because Leanne has been totally crapping out on her buddy read with the wonderful Amanda and she is a terrible person. We are checking in with each other at the 150 page mark and I am languishing at page 58. This one takes priority. Also, can we not discuss my ratchet nails in this video because the cats have knocked my nail polish remover over somewhere and I cannot find it and it's all very sad and tragic and I don't want to talk about it. So apart from Luck in the Shadows, I am of course reading Retribution Falls by Chris Wooding. Well, technically I'm listening to it on audiobook with Helen and I'm following along in the book because I can do that. That's also what I'm doing with Murder on the Orient Express, which is quite short for an audiobook, so I'll probably need another one for this month just for me. But I have started this one. But Leanne, I hear you say, you are reading the Poirot books in order, so why have you started Murder on the Orient Express when there are 4 books between Murder on the Orient Express and the Big Four, which I DNF'd last year? Well, I shall tell you. It is because I needed a little kickstart to get me back into picking up my Poirots because the Big Four really did affect me that badly. It was a huge, huge book hangover that one left me with. And this one is read on Audible by David Suchet. Not many of the Poirot audiobooks are, and so I am going to gobble it up. I have read this one before. It's a reread, so it's alright. I already know what happens. But I wanted David Suchet's Poirot narration to get me thinking about him again and to pick up a mystery on the blue train as soon as possible. Next, I shall be buddy reading The Boys from Brazil by Ira Levin with the wonderful Claire from the Book Fox, Quell Shock. Keep your eyes peeled next week for an announcement of a project featuring Ira Levin. I can't say that sentence. I've tried it 4 times. This is the 4th time I've filmed that sentence. I'm not doing it again. Claire and I have got some read-along shenanigans planned, so... And it's kind of a good thing because out of all of Ira Levin's books, this one is the one that I am least enthused about reading. Everybody who's read it has told me that they've loved it, so I don't really know what my issue is, but it's really outside of my comfort zone, so we'll see what I think. Then I will be reading Kat Marnell's memoir, How to Murder Your Life. This is a very tongue-in-cheek but very hard-hitting memoir about Kat when she worked as a fashion editor in a very sort of Manhattan, Sex and the City-esque environment, and she ended up being addicted to her ADHD and a few other anxiety disorder medications, and she started doctor shopping. So I'm really enjoying this one so far. I've only just started it last night, but it's really good and it is very black humoury, which suits me for memoirs of this style. And now we are on to the portion of the video which is reads that Leanne has been told to read and so must read. Claire from the Book Fox and I operate a small lending library system between us, and usually we throw in a couple of surprise books in there and it's like, read this, see what you think about it. So in that vein, I have had The Death of Grass by John Christopher since I think the end of November, and I've had a bookmark in it for that long and I've read the first 2 pages of it every other week for that long, and I haven't picked it up because here's the thing, it's post-apocalyptic and I am not the biggest fan of post-apocalyptic literature in the world, but Claire assures me that this one is not your typical post-apocalyptic world. It's very different, so I am going to give it a go, especially because she told me yesterday that she would not lend me any more of her horror books until I had read it, and that made me very sad. Also on Claire's list of demands yesterday was a book that I picked up on her suggestion middle of last year when we were chatting about the Edinburgh Book Festival and this author's name came up. This is The Mirror World of Melody Black by Gavin Extant, and it's one of those books that is really best left completely silent before you go in. I will read you only the very, very short tagline for how the book starts on the back, and then you can decide for yourself whether you want to pick it up. He was a neighbour, not someone Abby knew well, but still. Finding a body when you only came over to borrow a tin of tomatoes, that comes as a bit of a shock. Second to last on my list is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. This is a book which is a bit of a follow-up for Claire and I. We buddy read In a Dark, Dark Wood last year and I kind of liked it and it definitely kept me gripped and I flew through it. But Claire loved it, absolutely loved it, and she loved this follow-up from Ruth Ware. I obviously have not had enough caffeine today. Essentially, this is a locked door mystery set on a ship. One woman spots what she thinks is a murder, but when she looks into that cabin, there's nobody there, and there hasn't been anybody there. Nobody has checked on board for that cabin, and things become very creepy. And finally, in my death-defying TBR stack is one that Claire did not tell me to read, but my mother told me to read. This is The Birds and the Bees by Millie Johnson. It is, of course, contemporary fiction. I don't read very much of that these days, but it's not to say that I don't like it. I very much do when I pick up a good one. My mother is a bit of a connoisseur, and having got back into reading about 2 years ago completely spontaneously, she has been devouring contemporary. This is one of her favourites, and I promised literally about 4 or 5 months ago that I would read it, and I've had it on my shelf since then and I have not picked it up. This is a bit of a controversial plotline as well, because it is about a girl called Stevie who is 3 weeks away from her wedding and her husband runs off with her very glamorous best friend Joe. She does not see this coming, cannot believe that it's happening, and rather than believe it, she decides not to process it, and she goes on a campaign of trying to win him back. So you see the other reason that I didn't pick this up. It is a bit problematic when it comes to themes, but I hope that it's dealt with really, really well and that I can come out at the other end of this and say, this shocked me, I loved it. So that's everything that I am planning to read for February. As I said to you guys, keep your eyes out for a little IR11 announcement next week. And please link me to your February TBRs and or tell me what it is that you plan on reading, because I always love adding things to my infinite to buy list. Wish me luck on this, the smallest month of the year. See you guys. Bye!